umaga po, Marada ko, kasama ni Juan Lopez. As one of Melencio Lopez's son-in-laws, an American who has been welcomed into the Lopez family, it is indeed an honor to be allowed to say a few words this morning. A couple of nights ago, I sat down, and just for my own benefit, I typed up quickly and easily over 3 pages of notes on wonderful experiences I've had with Daddy. And I will spare you those details, but I will tell you that it was a privilege to have those experiences and be able to put them on paper. Though Daddy's death marks a sad time and a period of grieving, we've heard that several times today, it also gives those of us who knew him and loved him the opportunity to celebrate a great man and a long life lived to his fullest. In this world of media frenzies, both in the United States and in the Philippines, where we are bombarded with political scandals, the outrageous and controversial behavior of our elected officials and entertainers, it is a shame that more people do not learn from, respect, and emulate the life of one such as Melencio Lopez. This was Daddy's life. Daddy was born early in the 20th century, not long after the arrival of the first Americans in Manila. I truly believe that Daddy's life has been in many ways a mirror of the growth, hopes, and dreams of what is now the modern Philippines. Important parts of his life were filled with sadness and terrible tragedy. For example, the death of his mother as a young boy, and then the survival of the horrors of the Bataan death march that you've heard about, and the intolerable captivity that followed. However, one of the things that I've always admired most about my father-in-law, Pam's father, was that Daddy did not, admired about Daddy, was that such tragedy did not define him or consume him. Rather, those events and all the events in his life were woven into one thing, that is concern and caring for his family and for others. In the aftermath of the Second World War, when Manila lay smoldering ruins in which the Philippines was destroyed and the people were destroyed, but not their spirit, Daddy and others like him put all their energies and their hopes and their dreams towards the future to help rebuild that war-torn country. My father-in-law invested in education and earned degrees from the University of the Philippines at Los Baños, which was destroyed during the war, and also later a master's degree from Penn State University. He became a successful plant pathologist. I'm honored that I'm also a plant pathologist, coincidentally, to follow in his footsteps. And he successfully courted and married Juliet Santiago, soon to be Lopez. They both raised a family of 7 children, and one of the greatest achievements I think anyone here or in the Philippines can assume or can accomplish is that all 7 of those children are successful and have been through college. They had chosen to live in Los Baños and created a house there, or built a house there and created a home that fostered respect, love of family, and love of God. Their home, still at 32 DeMarza Street, Los Baños, became and remains a refuge for family members and friends from around the Philippines, from around the world in time of need. Jumping to my years, I began my association with Lopez family in 1995. It's when I finally arrived on the scene. And I imagine most of you here have not known Daddy much longer than the early 90s. By that time, Daddy had gotten older and slowed down a bit. His passion for tennis, to be sure, still burned inside him, but he mostly now watched his son and his grandson play the game that he loved so much. That strict disciplinarian who inspired fear and respect for my wife had mellowed into a doting grandfather who spent wonderful time with his grandchildren. The decisive and commanding intellect that guided decisions for family and business throughout the family years had given way to a peace that allowed Kuya Sherwin and others to make decisions on a daily basis, not only for themselves, but for his well-being as well. Still, we knew that only recently, we those who only knew him recently, could still see that same strength, the same character, that same integrity that carried him through the Bataan death march, that carried him through the death of his mother, that carried him through education and raising a family. And we can see that those same things, that friendly smile, the sincere gestures, the hospitality, the caring for others, always wanted to be a part of the solution, always wanted to help out, carry with him to his final days. Just as an aside, I met Pam while we were students at the University of Florida. And soon after we were married and the baby was on the way, Mommy and Daddy came to stay with us. And Daddy always wanted to help. We lived on the corner of a very busy street. And at the faculty students would come to my office and they would say, you know, we saw your father-in-law out there today cutting the grass. We saw your father-in-law out there picking up sticks. Your father-in-law out there sweeping the yard. We saw your father-in-law out there washing the car. And finally said, we know exactly what your father-in-law does, Bob, but we don't ever see you doing anything around the house. So that was the kind of man he was, always looking out for us. In his final years, and certainly in his final days, Daddy's life was marred by the terrible tragedy of Parkinson's disease. Mommy was constantly by his side, trying to make this difficult situation better. But how much better can you make a situation like Parkinson's disease? But I think we look at Daddy, and I look at Daddy with great pride, and despite the horror and the terrible nature of that disease, he was stoic to the end. He did not complain. He did everything he could in his power to minimize the burden of that disease and his help on the rest of us. I stand here today proud to say that for the past 11 years, I've been associated with the Lopez family. For the past 9.5 years, I have been the son-in-law of Winsor Lopez. I'm proud to have been a part of his life and him a part of my life, and I'm proud that his blood flows through my children's life.